to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
Welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. This is episode number 104, and we are speaking to you after having put boots on the ground in Al Mazrah in the brand new revolutionary world of Warzone 2.0. We've been counting down, waiting for these moments. Cowboy and I dropping in together, actually before it was even scheduled to go live. Somehow, I guess the Activision folks maybe like put us on, like a VIP list. We got in there early, a few minutes. But what a time it was. I certainly sunk my teeth into this game. So much to dive into, so much to talk about after having weeks and weeks of the multiplayer and hearing about the Cowboys' distaste for it. It's time to get back to our fucking roots, Warzone. So let's talk some Warzone. And with that said, I will turn to the 10-inch Cowboy and ask you, Cowboy, how was your week in Warzone 2.0?
Wow, thank you for that lively introduction. It was the first week we had Warzone. It's unbelievable. We have a lot to talk about. Just to set the context, I don't know if anyone out there is familiar with the Hot Ones challenge, where you eat a variety of spicy, very spicy, almost dangerously spicy chicken wings that have like these 10 different sauces. This guy Sean Evans hosts the show. It's called Hot Ones. Well, we did that last night. We're recording this the next morning, and I just want to let everybody know that it is as hot going out as it is coming in, and I have been having a horrible morning. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep, so I'm going to do my best here because I know we got a lot to talk about, but a fair warning for anyone that does the Hot Ones challenge. It is fucking brutal, and I'm paying the price right now. But with that being said, as a disclaimer, yes, the week was fantastic. Warzone, I'm loving it. I'm so happy to be done with multiplayer, and now we're in the new map, which there's so much to dissect, but it's an overall positive note for me. I'm having so much fun in it. Great games, so much it's just so interesting and new, and there's so much shit to learn. There's some hiccups, obviously, and we'll talk about those, I'm sure, but I had a fantastic week in the Warzone. How was your week in the Warzone?
Well, I love to hear that on your end because I feel the same positivity all around. I mean, we had previewed it, like how dramatic of a change it seemed like we were dropping into. We had seen the gameplay, seen multiple iterations of Warzone 2.0, these changes since then, but you really don't know, you don't understand until you yourself experience it. And that was the first thing. It was just like, this is a whole new game. I think the conclusion at the end of, playing for several days was, to me, it felt like more things almost are different than the same, but to me, I love it all. I love this new direction. I love it. I don't have these gripes. There's a lot of fucking whining going on Twitter, which is always the case when anyone makes changes, swings for the fences, which it seems like they did. But that said, I first and foremost learned that, it's not going to be easy. Because despite loving this game so much, I think our very first day, which I was only able to play maybe 5 or 6 games, I ended the session without a fucking kill.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was a terrible showing. I was getting multiple kills, 2, 3, 4. I think I even had 5 at one point, and you hadn't had any. I'd love to take a look at our KDs right now. I wonder, is there an active website where we can look at our KDs? Because I'm pretty sure
Wow.
I'm killing your KD, which is the exact position I want to be in. But yeah, it was hard because it's so different. It's just like totally different game, and it's so different than the multiplayer too. It's not the same at all.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of knew the feel of the gunplay, which all that was still there, but just like the new looting mechanics, the new bag system, the new fucking world. I mean, settings that you had to kind of go in and change to get back to similarly how you were operating. But yeah, to go back to the KD, that I ended the day with a KD of fucking 0. That was day one for the old Tronster. It hurt me in my heart, but actually maybe it wasn't the end of day one, but I did get back in the saddle. I did get my first kill, oddly enough, with a bomb drone, which I think we'll talk about a little later on. And then, then we started to get our feet wet. We started to fucking say, okay, we're back in this game. And although it wasn't with you, my consequent sessions that I played, started racking up more kills. Had a 5-kill game. So in terms of KDs, I believe stats are currently live within Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, but I think it's only for Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer right now. But that said, maybe you got a little ahead of me, but the Tron is going to be coming back with a vengeance, all right?
Maybe. I definitely did. My KD was probably comfortable in like the 5 to 6 range on the first day, and yours was a 0.
5 or 6. Again, this is all speculation, so sure, whatever. You can live in fantasy land there. But what do we really want to dive into first when it comes to Warzone 2.0 first impressions?
I think the map is probably the first eye grabber. It's visually an important part of this. Which honestly, it's large, and there is a variety of shit all over this map. It's very interesting. I feel like it's more complex than Verdansk or Caldera was. It seems like there's a lot more variety than both. Like, just from building structure to like, it's just, there's so much different stuff. It's a maze, really. It's a huge maze.
It's a maze. And to go further, I think it's fucking amazing. I think this map is a work. It's a masterpiece. I can't even fathom like how much time have they been putting into this. Yeah, and to compare this side by side with Caldera, it's like Al Mazrah is like a work of fucking Renaissance art, and then Caldera is like somebody in fucking Microsoft Paint sketching some cats. Like, you have a mountain here, some trees, a fucking volcano on Caldera, maybe a gondola, and then like some huts and shit. Whereas Al Mazrah, it feels like it's a real fucking place on this planet, and the way it's integrated with the waterways, various elevations, it's almost overwhelming the amount of buildings that are all I think you can enter and explore every inch of this map. I've played probably 20-30 games so far, and I still don't think I've visited every area of the map, and I'm really making an effort to like check out different places. So yeah, I'm with you. I think this map is incredible. So we got to give, I think, some kudos there where it's deserved.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I don't know the map at all right now. I know a couple of areas, I feel like, because I've gone to them a few times, but quite literally after probably a similar amount of games as you, there's places I still haven't been. I haven't been everywhere. There's a lot. There's underground shit. There's so much stuff. And not to mention like the buildings. Geez, there's so many buildings and so many rooms and so many rooftops. And it's going to be feel like a while until like there's like a solid understanding of what like the geography is on the map, because it's impressively deep.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit, I think, till we figure out places we like, maybe places we don't like. I feel like the observatory is relatively hot consistently. I have to imagine terminal or the airport is, just because people really have a lot of nostalgia for they've founded the buildings. The map within the airport is essentially terminal, which is a very classic Call of Duty Modern Warfare map, multiplayer map. But that said, okay, so the map we've touched on. I think next let's talk about vehicles, which very early on, I know you really wanted to get your feet wet with the boats, which we drove actually, I think, 2 different types of boats. So what are your thoughts here on vehicles in this new world of Warzone?
Yeah, I really like the boats. I think it's what was shocking to me is that there's also, as a man of the sea myself, a boat is never still. It's always rocking. And what was interesting is that they literally built like little swell features or little wave features from not just like crashing like very close to where the water meets the shoreline, but it really, when you're driving the boat into some of the ports, there is like a natural swell that's going on and your boat is moving with it. It's one of the most lifelike boating gaming features I've ever played with. I haven't played with a lot of stuff, but I mean, it was kind of jaw-dropping at the detail. So I really like the boats. Yeah, I think there's two kinds of boats. One is like a gunner that has like two turrets on the front, or one on the front and one on the back, two on the boat. And they're very powerful guns from what I hear. And then there's a little dinghy style thing that is a little slower, and it's like a little tiny, like a little 10-foot boat. But they're cool and they're fun. And yeah, there's a lot of them also. Like you can really get to any point in the water and there seems like there's boats around, you know, especially by like the southwestern or southern area. So yeah, I've been digging the boats. I think that the vehicles, it's like a dune buggy style. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like more of like the off-road style. That's, to me, it clearly seems like the best vehicle. It's so fast. It takes like bumps very, very well. It's like maneuvers well. And then, of course, there's who can forget about the electric vehicle, the GMC. What vehicle is that? What is the branding on that?
GMC Hummer EV.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's obviously just super smooth. What is nice is that's like a silent car. Obviously, it's an electric vehicle, so it's very quiet, you know? Like, you could just, like, sneak up on people on that thing if they're not looking at their tac map. And then I think the other major noticeable difference was the helicopters are totally different. They do not fly at all the same as they did on the last two maps, Caldera and Verdansk. The helicopters in this are clunky and slow and gigantic, and it's just a totally different ball game with the helicopters and the airfare.
Yeah, I think like the overall takeaway with vehicles for me, comparing, obviously there weren't aquatic vehicles previously, but just overall, is everything just feels heavier, which to me, I think it feels more realistic. Like the boats feel good. The maneuvering that little fucking dinghy around feels good. The graphics, which just across the board look amazing too. The water, the light, all that, the swells as you talked about. But everything just feels unique. It's not like before where very much like the turning radiuses, the speeds, you know, the way they handled all that stuff felt the same. Yeah, the helis in old Warzone were nimble as fuck. You could go spinning around, you know, a telephone pole 360 degrees, drop to the ground within seconds, whereas now it's like just trying to lower the heli to the ground. It's like it takes a substantial amount of time, and I quickly learned the hard way with you, unfortunately, as my unwitting passenger. Was, you know, in the old ones you could hop out of that thing with like it a few feet above the ground, but I did that and it fucking instantly exploded. So some interesting stuff going on there.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you killed both of us. That was not the way a game should end. But yeah, I do remember that clearly. Yeah, so are you saying you have to put the helicopter's feet on the ground? You got to like do it?
It seems like it. And I haven't even flown the big giant one that it can hover above ground while you leave it. But yeah, there's still just so much to explore. I think I've driven like the ATV. As you said, that TAC Rover or whatever it is feels fantastic, very fast, very nimble. There's a lot of off-road terrain in this game that it makes use of. I rode the Bertha. It does seem like that we theorized and hoped for, that the new gas burn rates, they vary by vehicle. The truck, we drove it a bit and it was like, damn, we've already burned through a quarter of a tank. So I guess any thoughts on like this new gas mechanic too?
Yeah, I think I'm not against it. I like that it adds another element, which is cool. And there's like gas cans, you know, you got gas stations. They have a really cool marine gas station in a cave in one of the parts of the map that was really kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun mechanic. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I think the one result I've seen of it is it kind of like, to me, it makes you like, you have to travel and drive with intent. Like you can't just fucking meander around and like, oh, your friends are coming in, so you'll just do some fucking laps around the building and like, oh, go. It's like, no, we got to get from A to B. If we fuck around, we might have to stop, get a new car or get a gas can. I haven't fueled up outside of like just accidentally driving through the gas station, which it automatically kind of triggers like the gassing up and repair stuff. I haven't even really shot at tires and stuff, which I'm now even saying it. I had forgotten while playing that you can do stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the vehicles suit the map well. It is a fucking massive map, tons of vehicles, so I like the
Also,
variety. Go ahead.
on the gas point, I never thought about this, but it also brings another dimension if you're going to be trying to rock a king contract. You know, you can't just be
Ooh.
driving around aimlessly. Like
So
you gotta,
true.
you gotta go to gas stations. You know, it changes that.
Yes, the most wanted. You can't just fly that heli over. Where would we go? We would go like up in the mountainous parts of Verdansk often to get the full squad back. But in terms of most wanted, let's talk contracts. There's obviously they've reshaped that. Some favorites returning, bounties. I think most wanted. But then there's like these new ones, the Safecracker contract. There's like the Intel contract, which seems like kind of an evolution of recons. And then I'm not sure if there's more beyond that, but the contracts are interesting. And then yeah, the way in which like you loot them, they're just like little cards that emit an odd sound, can kind of be tricky to find. But otherwise, I feel like the contracts are working in the game. Doesn't seem overwhelming, and you're able to kind of find some. I don't know. What are your thoughts on contracts?
To be honest, the only contract that I think I've done is the safe cracker contract, which is interesting. I didn't realize when you go up to it, you plant like a C4 device and then it explodes. So it killed me the first time, and it took me a second to realize what actually was happening. So those are the only ones that I've done. I haven't done a king yet. I'm trying to think. I may have done some when we were on like quads or something and someone grabbed one and I was unaware of it, but actively the only one I've done is the code cracking one. Have you dabbled in them?
Yeah, I've done the Intel one, which
Oh, that's right. Yes.
it basically I can't
Like a
remember.
recon.
Yeah, but I feel like it's multi-stepped. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, essentially you find, a device and then you upload a little card into it and you got to sit there. The timer in which like it takes to upload and complete seems way faster than the old recons. I think the beam of light still is emitted to let the people know around you, but I just like that they kind of didn't just slap them on, and they give us some new ones. And like, yeah, the safe cracker seems like it's kind of a little evolution of scavengers, but instead of, just opening crates, you do this little bomb thing, which is cool. But I guess let's dive into the biggest fundamental, I think, change between Warzone 1 and Warzone 2, which is looting, which is the new bag UI
I would
system.
argue one other big change, but we'll do this point of discussion first. I have the other big change.
Ooh, all right. Well, a lot of changes and many arguments to be made. But that said, what are your thoughts on the new looting system?
It's very clunky and hard. I'm still trying to figure out how to use my backpack, Like I'm not exactly sure what to do. I don't know what to keep. I mean, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but so you can hold like multiple gas masks.
Yes.
You can be in the gas for a very long time.
You can hold multiple of everything, but the caveat there is for certain things like to hold an extra primary weapon, which you can stow those, you have to have the larger backpack sizes. So to back up, you drop
I
in
didn't
with
even know that.
Yeah, you drop in with a standard backpack, which has like 5 or 6 little slots. No, you cannot carry an extra primary with that. Then there's a medium backpack and a large backpack. The large are very rare and hard to find. I think I've only found 1 or 2. And I'm unsure at what point you can stow an extra primary, but there's a way to get the minigun, which I did with Pole, and I fucking didn't want to like trade that out for my SMG, and I was like, can I stow this? Sure enough, I had a good backpack. I was able to literally have my AR, SMG, and then in my backpack, I had a fucking minigun.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So that, yeah, to answer your question, you can stow tons of nades. You can stow Semtexes, Claymores, proxies if you want. 3 gas masks, 3, 4, 5 self-revives, 7 stacks of plates. However you want to hoard shit, you can do that now.
Wow, that's really fascinating. Yeah, I gotta start stacking up those self revives and those gas masks and shit.
But yeah, in terms of like using it, definitely a learning curve. I'm still on that curve. Getting better though, kind of getting a quicker sense. I think the main thing that's hard for me is swapping, like, if I have something in my bag and I want to get rid of it for something on the ground, it's taking me a little bit longer than I'd like to make that happen. But in terms of like, if I have an empty backpack early game and it's like, okay, equip this, stow that, it's pretty simple. I feel like that. But again, yeah, it's this weird thing. In terms of like looting crates and stuff, I feel like it's pretty quick. Like when the menu comes up, you can kind of tab between stuff. But it's just a matter, I think, of managing the inventory. And then like, yeah, let's say you have the multiple gas masks. The one you have equipped runs out. I'm still unclear if you then, I believe you have to then go to your UI and then take the one from your bag, equip that to have that, you know, additional gas mask. It's just not this like automatic back-to-back gas mask thing going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I assumed you'd have to equip it, because you got to pull it out of your backpack. But that's fascinating. I'm curious to see some of like clips that come out of like late game victories with crazy like a backpack full of stems or gas masks or just crazy shit, you know?
Yeah, you got like, that's a good point. You got like 3 gas masks, 2 sets of stems, 2 muni boxes, and a self or something, you know? And you're just going to be a rat. I haven't seen clips like that. I know there's that guy who was huge on that in YouTube for doing the 0 kill, 0 damage wins, which I haven't checked out his page. I'm curious how he's approaching this new one, if it's as viable or if they've made things to kind of combat plays like that. And then these durable gas masks, I don't know if you had those, but they seem like they've been buffed. Like in terms of it was like somebody on our team was using it and they were in the gas, what felt like, 10, 20 seconds. And then like 1 tick was gone on that durable gas mask. But an interesting thing, but yeah, in terms of other big changes, obviously the movement, no longer slide canceling, specifically like running from the gas now. If you don't have a vehicle, it's a weird experience to not be able to like get that little slide cancel ahead of the game. What do you think about the new movement system?
Oh man, I mean, I think I enjoy it because I think it evens the playing field. The game, one thing I've noticed, it's way more about now hitting your shots and like being more tactical with your positioning, having the forethought, the foreskin to be ready for like what is coming next. And I think that in a lot of situations, like, okay, let's take Caldera or Verdansk just as an example. I could be standing inside of a room, right? And there's one door to get into that room. And I could be ADSing in the door. Like I know someone's coming in and I'm looking down my spot. I should win that fight if I'm ready for it. But really good players will slide cancel through the door, jump, hop, move, fucking just shimmy on down, and I'll miss all my shots and they'll kill me. And that's not how it should work. You know what I mean? What I like about this is that I really think that if I'm standing in a room and I know someone's coming in that door, I have a pretty fucking good chance now, which I used to not have. So I appreciate the change in the movement. That's where I stand on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the lightning rod of controversy. Some people feel movement is or should be a big part of Call of Duty. Other people feel like, no, traditionally it wasn't. It's actually only recently, especially with 19, where, from my understanding, that was like the first time people really basically used a broken mechanic to get an extra speed. And now they've reversed course, as we've talked about for weeks. So the community, seeing it on Warzone, it's just amplified that. People are upset, like, oh, I get cracked and I can't run away and stuff. And it's like, it's just, you have to rethink. You can't be as reckless. You got to be more tactical. Yeah, maybe it's more amateur friendly, but whatever we're always in favor of that. But at the same time, the playing field to me is more level now. Like, you said, you got a guy in a room hunkered up in a doorway. You got to outthink him then if you want to beat him. Get a fucking drill charge, throw that in, stun him, do something. Don't just use some fucking tap, slide, fucking pop a stim, do that shit, I don't know. So big fan of that. I think just, traversing the game now on foot too, inherently a little more risky. You feel a little bit more naked, especially crossing, vast open spaces, which to me, that was like my big thing in BRs when I first played them, was like, going out in the open was a fucking kind of a scary experience. And I feel like it's kind of recaptured that. You're looking around, checking buildings, checking the horizon, looking up in the air, as opposed to just like, like gliding across like it's fucking ice skates.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's why sniping has also become a little bit more popular again, is that the map is so large. You got to cross these areas. You know, there's a lot of sniping opportunity on this map. It's just, you got to find some opponents, you know?
Well, I guess let's take us into weaponry, because yeah, I don't know if there's really a definitive meta in terms of specific a gun or two. I think the Fennec for short range, I've pretty much seen that. All the streamers using that. It seems like the TAC 56 very favorable for ARs and the RPK, but still a lot of diversity in the AR space. But yeah, it seems like the meta, just as a general like shape of the game, is sniping. It's back on the fucking menu, which for someone like you, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel good. It's also difficult. I feel like it's not as easy to snipe as it was in like the old days, like when the car reigned supreme, and it's just not as easy. I don't know why. I feel like they've integrated more like drop to the bullets. It just feels different, and maybe I don't have like my snipers dialed in yet, and I, to be honest, am in complete shambles with my loadout. Like I don't even know how to get my loadout still. I'm like I just basically like find good ground loot weapons right now, and I'm playing with those, or I'll buy it like the is it the SX50 or what is it, the sniper that everyone's using?
Yeah,
the S50
I'm not sure
or
on
something?
that one.
Yeah, it's something 50, and I've been using that. I'll buy that, and then I pair it with like a good if I can find a ground loot Fennec, or I'll buy like the MP5, which I think is the
Lockman sub.
Lockman sub. So yeah, I've been basically just like scrapping around with my loadouts. But yeah, the sniping has been fun. It's also, yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten a lot of headshots. Let's just put it that way. Since dropping into the new map, I have not got a lot of headshots. I feel like they're a lot harder to come by in this map, in this new game.
Yeah, definitely, bullet drop is for sure a thing. It seems like just overall sniping over longer distances as a whole, but I've heard also that some of the snipers, you can hit headshots, and if people have 3 plates, they don't down. However, I believe the brand new one that Victus or whatever it was, that one does down at 3 plates. And so it's an interesting thing, but to back up about loadouts, have you gotten your loadout, like an actual loadout yet in a game?
No, I have not. No.
Wow. Okay.
No, I don't think I have. I can't recall. No, I don't think I have. No,
So-
I bought in the loadout guns, which is also fucking confusing at the buys, and I finally figured out how to do that though.
Yeah, so well, I guess let's talk about that. That shit early on, that was the way, we had deduced by looking at the streams that, hey, you can't buy a loadout at buys, but you can buy your loadout guns. But then we drop in, you pull up the primary weapon tab on the buy station, and it shows all the main guns, but it shows 0 attachments. And it's like, well, where are all my builds? Because that's the other thing. When you hopped into Warzone, all your loadouts got cleared. Those multiplayer loadouts, that's a separate thing. You had to rebuild them. And we spent like 10, 20 minutes, I feel like, before we hopped in to do that. And I'm like, where's my fucking guns? But quickly came to find it's just a UI glitch, which, this UI is just the gift that keeps fucking giving here. So polished, like a fucking 8-ball here. But yeah, so if you're out there and you've been avoiding buying guns at the loadouts or at the buys because you feel like your custom ones aren't there, they are there. You'll actually notice that they're ordered on that list the same way that you ordered your loadout. So like if you have your first loadout has an RPK, you'll see that that's listed first. When you buy it, although it shows 0 attachments, it will be the one you built out.
Yes, and I have finally noticed that. The only thing is that I have an SPR loadout, and I haven't seen the SPR in that, which is weird. Like, it's not translating for me for some reason, but I just...
Is that an overkill loadout where the SPR is like your second weapon?
It could be.
Because I've heard it's bugged to where only the primaries are the ones showing up on that list.
Got it. That's, yeah. I've been just buying that SPX 50 or whatever it's called, the bigger sniper, and bypassing my SPR loadout.
So then that's how you can get your guns at any point, your loadout guns. But in terms of if you want the whole loadout shebanger, you want the perks, all that good shit, which I'm desperate for. There's only 2 ways to do that now. Number 1 is to clear out a stronghold, which we had known a lot. Again, a lot of this was theory that we understood, but until you have it in practice, you just don't fucking know. So to shine a little more light on that, I thought there was going to be like a bunch of strongholds that open. There were going to be known areas. And we talked about like maybe there's like a hotspot one that everyone goes to. And I thought right off the rip you could go do a stronghold. But no, you start the match. You have no idea where the strongholds are going to be. Then it seems like it's an undefined period of time that can really differ. But it's somewhat early in the game. You get notified that strongholds are open. You check your map. You'll see the stronghold icons. I believe as of now, the only 3 strongholds spawn on the entire map for, a lobby of 150 people. Have you completed any strongholds?
Yeah, I think we've done it a few times.
Then you would have got your fucking loadout.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I thought, but there's there's also loadout drops, though, where you run up and grab your loadout,
that's the
right?
third one. We haven't got there yet.
Yeah. So I haven't done that. Yeah, I've done the stronghold and I've gotten the loadout that way. Yeah, okay.
So you've gotten a loadout. So yeah.
Yeah,
so
I guess I'm looking through the lens of the traditional, like, you go to the loadout drop and you get your fucking loadout, which I haven't done.
But yeah, so if you want to brave these strongholds, for me, it was like, if I'm close to one, I'll go for it. Or maybe even better, I'll get a UAV, see how it is. If you are the first one there, we talked about, you have to defuse a bomb. So pro tip, if you're unsure, am I the first one here? Or have people already been to the stronghold? If you get there and it says defuse the bomb, as far as I understand, that means you were the first ones there. So I think it's like a 2-minute timer starts. The AR start pouring out. I like that they've differentiated the pings, or like the red icons on the TAC map now are different from enemies, players versus AI. You can clearly distinguish them based on the TAC map, though. Fucking tons of times in the games, I'm like killing things, and I don't know if they're bots or players.
Yeah, how's that AI treating you? I've noticed you died a few times, the AI, that first day.
I did.
It was
I died more than once or twice to these AI. I got a little overzealous, thought I could take them on, and maybe
they don't miss a lot of shots if you're
and
close
they just
to
come
them.
in fucking numbers, and you only got so many bullets,
Yeah, that's the one thing I've realized is I go through a lot of bullets on this map.
Yeah,
for some reason I'm going through a lot of bullets.
Long are the days of like an AR with a 60-round mag. You run the Kazov 7.62, you're only getting a 40-round mag, which is why I think guns like the RPK, the LMG is a little bit more in vogue right now for Warzone. But that said, so you go to the stronghold, you defuse the bomb if you're the first one there, you clear out some AI. As a result, you get a bunch of loot, usually some gas masks, some medium backpacks, and then you can use the little like place where you defuse the bomb becomes essentially your loadout, where you can go through, pick your loadout. The big wrinkle though that they threw in were like, oh, we're getting 4 perks. This is going to change the game. You can do combinations that have never been known by man before. But then we find out day of release, no, the perk section for building your loadouts, they're all just the preset perks. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that we made assumptions and they're biting us in the ass. So wait, can you just explain to me how perks work now? Because I'm confused. Obviously, when you get your loadout, you get perks, right?
You have all 4 perks active as soon as you get a loadout.
Yeah. And then, so in this context, we're talking about what exactly?
The perk, so like you can't go in and make your custom perk setup like you can in multiplayer. I can't go in.
Oh, yeah. So like on the far left, you could set up your own custom perk situation. Like, sorry, yes, you just said this, but now I'm understanding, yes. There's only like, is it 6 or 8?
Yeah, something like that. And they're preset. It's like you got to pick from their menu. You can't go a la carte and customize this burrito, bro. You gotta take the toppings that are on it.
Burritos. They're pre-made.
Yeah. But it's, to me, I think they saw, like we talked about, oh wow, you could do overkill, restock, and ghost. Like that's going to be OP. I think they kind of, because at first I was like, oh, maybe it's just the functionality they haven't added yet, and it'll be coming later. But from reading the patch notes, it sounds like this was clearly a conscious decision. Yeah, a choice that they're sticking by, so that, exactly that, you can't abuse the perk system. You got to kind of pick and choose and decide which kind of set to go with, which was, to me, I don't know how I feel about it, but I respect it that they're putting some limitations on there.
Yeah, I think it would have been the wild, wild west if you could just choose all your perks at any time. I mean, I get it. I think it's important. I mean, you can't have everyone running restock, ghost, and overkill. You can't do that. And high alert, it would be fucking crazy, you know?
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe they'll start rolling out some additional, one choices out there. But so you get your loadout via the stronghold. From there, you also get a black site key if you're the first one in a stronghold. And I had wondered about these. I believe then only one black site is on the map. And I had the pleasure of completing a black site, which it took a few tries. It's essentially similar to a stronghold, but the enemy AI there are armored up a bit more, and you have to take down a fucking juggernaut AI. But as they alluded to, you get like the rarest loot on Al Mazrah. I think you get durable gas masks. I was able to pick up that minigun. You get an advanced UAV. And I think maybe something else I can't remember off the top of my head, but I strongly advise if you're able to, the black sites do deliver the goods.
What is what is the marking of a black site?
So that was the biggest thing. I was like, okay, we got the black site key. Do we want to do it? And it was me and Paul, and we're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, let me figure out where the fuck this thing is. I literally had to pull up the TAC map. On the right-hand side, there's like a legend. And the icon is very similar to a stronghold. It's almost like a fence, but like as opposed to a castle. And so you have to kind of literally look around the map, find that little icon, go to it. A lot of times the circle's closing quick, so you might run out of time, but that's what you'll find there. It's worth it. And I think you even get a second loadout at that point. But the other thing to mention about these strongholds and black sites is once you complete them, you have a permanent UAV from that spot.
Real permanent.
It's like a local, kind of like the comms towers in the old Warzone, but it's always going from the black site.
Wow, that's interesting. Is it big or is it kind of just around that site?
It's kind of, I mean, it's big enough to where you can see if people are showing up. Like that was amazing.
Yeah, you probably want to camp that area.
Yeah, that's one strategy for sure.
Interesting. Yeah. So did you guys end up getting that and staying?
I mean, we had them, and then I'm not sure how the round ended up. I don't think we won. I think we got third or something, but I didn't even get to use the minigun because I forgot I had it. I've seen Dr. Disrespect was shredding some folks with it. So it's definitely powerful. But yeah, so that's the number one way to get your loadout. The number two way, which both seem like somewhat crapshoots for the most part, is the traditional, H1Z1 style. You look up in the sky, you see this big fucking jet flying in a straight line. That's the flight path. That fucker drops loadouts in a line, only in circle, I've learned. And those, I thought the thing was we said, oh, loadout drops are public and they're available to everyone. I thought, oh, that means I can go get it, my team, and then maybe another team can come later and get it. But no, they're like a one-time use for the first team that finds them. So a lot more desperate and hot to get those. I've only gotten those once, and it was when we were literally like in the flight path and one just happened to luckily drop on us. What do you think about this?
Yeah, that was, I think, when we were playing the Unleashed BR trios. Unhinged, I think. And yeah, because I remember it was like, oh shit, it's literally dropping right on top of me. And then it was on top of that building and we ended up getting it. I think I was there for that as well. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it that way because, I mean, it'd be one thing if that was the only way you could get your loadout, but there's multiple ways now. So, and I really love this variety because it's not like, okay, let's, what are we doing? Let's go get the loadout. It's like, okay, how do we want to get the loadout? Should we go here? Should we go there? It's next level, deeper thinking, which I like.
Yeah, and at first I was like, oh, that sucks that, it's accessible to everyone, but only the first team that gets it can use it. But in thinking about it now, it's like, well, then people would just camp the shit out of them after they got their loadout. They'd wait for the next team to come. Yeah. So I'm fine with that, but I do think there needs to be more of them. Because I've seen it where like literally the drop will come in and there's 3 loadouts. And again, it's like, you got a lot of squads. I don't know, I just don't... It's like ingrained in me from old Warzone. Like, I want that loadout. It's like this mental thing that when I get it, I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't know. There's been a lot of outcry about this. That's definitely a major change. I know back when I talked about looting being like, to me, the biggest, change or point of contention in the game, you said, I think something else is this that, or what, where are we going with that?
I'm going to proximity chat.
Oh, okay. Well,
which
before we
is-
hop into proximity chat, some final notes on looting that I forgot to mention is this new plate system where you start out with 2 plates only max can be equipped, and then you have to find a plate satchel, which do you like this? Do you dislike this? Neutral?
Neutral, I think. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but at the same time, it doesn't really bother me, but it's also kind of like whatever, you know.
I like it, and I think it cracks down on like how many times in the old game somebody just respawns out of the gulag, drops in on you, like beats you down, or comes in with like an SMG and can just drop. Like, to me, it makes it, the new guys have a little bit of a disadvantage to get back into the game, which I'm fine with that. I think that should be the way it goes. And they are prevalent enough that you can usually find them after looting, 1 or 2 areas. And I like also that your teammates can, if they find one, they can just pick one up and be like, hey, you need a satchel? And it's like, yeah, you don't have to like ping it. You have to run fucking back to the building and get it. They can just bring it to you.
Oh, that's a good point that we didn't utilize. Everyone was like, oh, there's a satchel here if anyone needs it, and they just ran away from it.
Yeah, they could, if they have room in their bag, pick it up. So that was one thing I just wanted to touch on. The other is this new self-revive gun that they introduced where you can literally shoot a teammate that's down and they revive, or you can use it on yourself. I haven't yet shot it. Have you used that gun?
I haven't shot it either, actually. I've picked them up a few times, but I've never really had the wherewithal to be ready to use it.
Yeah, so interesting thing there. But yes, let's get to we talked about when they announced it. I just remember thinking, holy shit, I can't believe they're doing, I think I even mentioned, I thought the days of proximity chat in a multiplayer game were over. It was a relic of the past. But for them to do it and now seeing it happen, like, I mean, fundamentally game to game, I'm with you. Like, this could be the thing that has just changed the game. In terms of just the content and the experience with the game, it has enriched it, in my opinion, so much. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I've never played a game that had proximity chat. It's fucking hilarious. I think it's so funny. What else is there to say? It's just like such a ridiculous thing. And it's interesting because you end up, like just randomly hearing someone. You're like, wait, what the fuck was that? And it's like, oh shit, there's someone here. And then like, you guys get quiet and you can listen. And there's this whole other psychology behind it. If you have like your comms open and you're talking to them or you're listening to them or they hear you and then they know you're there. And like, I've had some very, very hilarious interactions because of the proximity chat already. And we've even made a few friends in the proximity chat that were gentle souls that didn't want to kill us. So it's been fun. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can like describe it, but to me it's taken Warzone and it's turned it from just like a very simple, straightforward game into almost like a world and a society of sorts. Because yeah, it was like our second or third game. We were in like an area, it's like the flooded kind of marshy area, and we hear these guys and they're like, hey, we're friendly. And we're like, I don't know. And then I saw one and they saw me and they didn't shoot at me. And we just kind of had this like weird moment of coexisting with each other. And we were nice and fucking looted and went on our merry ways. We both could have murdered each other, but we didn't. And then on the flip side, which I think we'll get into next with the unhinged assimilation, is we'll run into teams in like the unhinged mode where you can add players and be like, all right, bro, here's the deal. Do you want to fucking join our squad or do you want to fucking die? And like just opening that can of worms, allowing for that is incredible. The content that's coming out in the community as a whole, incredible. I'm still don't even know if I feel like it's an advantage or disadvantage to enable it, but I just fucking enable it anyways because it is just so goddamn entertaining.
Yeah, there was a moment this week where we were playing Unhinged and we had a big team. We had like 6 of us were on the team. And we found this guy. He was like alone, I think.
Yep.
And he was like, I'm alone. Don't kill me. And then so one of the guys on the team was like, all right, well, drop all your stuff and we'll let you live.
Yeah, he said, I can pay you. He's like, I'll give you my money.
And we're like, all right. And then so he dropped all of his shit. And then like I killed him immediately after he did that.
You really fucked up there.
I crossed the line, I realized. And I feel guilty about that because you should have heard the comms that how upset and sad he was that I just murdered him in cold blood in front of the group. It was bad, but
I mean,
it was great.
Those little moments just weren't possible before, and they happen now all the time, and they're hilarious. They're incredible. Yeah, we literally negotiating with this guy. Like, all right, well, drop all your money, put your gun down, get on your knees. At one point, then I creeped into a building and I saw a guy standing up with a gun, and I was like, you don't have your fucking gun out and you're not on your knees. He's like, yes, I am. So then I just murdered that guy. And I thought it was the same guy. And he was like, no, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. And then, yeah, again, it's like this weird social thing where it's like this weird trust thing going on. You violated that code. This poor man died at your hands after, relenting. But yeah, you can like basically take people like fucking hostage now. I've seen people, bribing their ways out of situations. And then just the shit talking. I didn't experience it, but I heard from a friend that you had a battle. It was like a one-on-one, and you and the guy were really jawing at each other.
Yeah, it was great. Basically, he said some really horrible things that we're not going to repeat on this podcast. I said some things that were horrible, but not that horrible. And we were going back and forth, and then I just went silent. And I was there was a buy station, so the reason I knew he was there is that he bought his boy back. So I kind of ran up to shoot him. I shot him a few times. He shot me. We kind of got lost, but we were talking to each other and we didn't know where each other were. So somehow I got behind the wall and the door. There was a buy on the other side of the door. And there happened to be a door right there. So I could just like turn around the corner. And I had a feeling he was going to come back to the buy because I think I'd killed his friend or something. And he was talking all this shit. It was like out of control. And then he basically... I just went quiet, and he's like, oh, this motherfucker left. And I was like, just sitting there silently, and he's like, all right, I think he's gone. I'm going to buy you back. And he comes up to the buy, and I see him run past, and then I wait a split second, and I turn the corner, and he's like frozen in the buy, because he's going to buy his boy. And I just murked him. And while I was murking, I was like, how you like that, you little bitch? And he was just like, no! It was just fucking amazing. Like, it was like straight out of a movie. It felt great, and I got the last laugh.
I mean, I had talked about what a joy it was back in like the Halo 2 days. I'm glad now we all get to experience it for those who didn't have a chance to. I love it. It obviously does allow toxicity. There's some downsides, but overall, huge game changer in the game. So fun. I think it could be refined a bit. I think it'd be cool if it scaled like the farther away they were, the quieter they got. So you can maybe judge a little bit, like if you were getting closer, because it is kind of a mystery at times. You don't know, are they in my building? Speaking of which, the audio, the footsteps seem fucking non-existent, and I'm seeing people all over Twitter saying footsteps are too loud. So I don't know if you're out there, if I have like a fucking setting wrong or something, but to me, I can't hear fucking shit.
I completely agree. I'm not hearing shit either. Maybe it's a console thing.
But that leads us to this new feature, which we didn't preview because we didn't really know much about it. And quickly learned that when they saw this unhinged playlist, like they want this to be a major thing, is this assimilation feature, which if you're unfamiliar, let's say you drop into a team configuration and you have less than a full squad. So if you drop into a quad with a trio, you can add a fourth player. They have to be an enemy. You use the UI to invite someone in the area. Then they have to accept that invite. You can also request to join people in the area. And if they accept you, you join your squad, so you can gain people. You can also just leave your squad or be fucking abandoned yourself. But on the flip side, there's also now a game mode specific playlist, which they're calling Unhinged. Right now it's trios, which that allows you, even if you have a full trio, you can then add an additional 3 people on top of it. And we played around with it. Let's just say it was a huge stroke of luck we had where us 3 friends in a trio somehow got into the same lobby with our buddies who also had a trio, and we literally hinged up, made a fucking squad of 6. Literally the top 3 gaming moment memory of my life. We had a squad of 6 with all of my buddies, cowboys there, all the old WoW classic bros, shit that never would have been possible, never would have imagined was possible. We ended up getting, that was my very first victory in Warzone. We got it with that squad. But just any thoughts on this whole new world of assimilation?
The joining of the friends was like an all-time classic moment. And I just want to point out for the record, your boy had a final triple kill that won the game for us. And it was pseudo clutch. Tron was dead.
Pseudo. I was down.
I saved everybody, and it was fucking great. And it was my first win, and it's memorable. And I think I clipped it. I got to put it up on.
Yeah,
maybe I can. We'll put it on the channel.
Please do. Let's hear our viewers' thoughts on this, because for the most part, you were like a fucking scared dog. Didn't know what was going on. Looking around, you shot like 20 snipe shots. I think you hit one, but you did. You got the final kill for our first ever Warzone victory, which was dope. We got that together. Now that we've gotten that, I'm setting my sights on you and I got to get a fucking duos win together. But I did this assimilation thing later on. I played a game yesterday with a trio of friends, and we found these two random guys, and they immediately wanted to squad up. So we added them. We made 5, and we ended up getting a win, and they were just so stoked. I think it was their first win ever. They were dead at the end. Really fun round. Really amazing. I mean, like we've said, they've just revolutionized Warzone, and to me, this is another huge win. I love this mechanic. At first, I was like, this is fucking kind of lame. But it's just, again, it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's they've done a lot of fun things. They've really changed it up. We're kind of getting towards the end of the episode, and there's still so much to talk about.
I know.
It's like there's a lot. I mean, we just kind of covered the big changes, but I guess if you haven't dropped in yet, you got to drop in. You got to check it out. Oh yeah,
and we have. I mean, we were going to preview DMZ last week. I haven't even really had a chance to dive into it this week, so we're not even going to get to that yet. So there's a whole new fucking game mode we really haven't even touched. A whole new world of Warzone, essentially, which DMZ isn't beta. But that final thing to talk about before a little addendum is the new Gulag. Thoughts?
It's different. It's a different ball game. It's 2v2. Sometimes you're with a buddy, sometimes you're with a stranger, and you guys either are killing the other team or you're making friends and killing the Juggernaut. Everyone's coming back. Again, it's like this weird social experiment. I've been on teams where we kill the Jug, and I've been on teams where we kill each other. Yeah, and it's interesting trusting people and not trusting people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, again, total social thing. I'm always pitching as they're like loading up. There's that few seconds. Hey guys, let's team up, kill the Jug. We can all get out of here. But so far, I've had no takers. Everyone's just a fucking asshole. I've had teammates. One of the teammates is like, let's do it. And then their buddy shoots me and I'm like, oh, they fucking blew it. Game over. I'm having horrible success rate in the Gulag, but definitely getting better as time's gone on. At first, I hated it. I was like, this is dumb. But now I'm into it. It's fun. It's a little... I think maybe some other mechanics could be tweaked. Like, I think if you get one kill, maybe you should just shit. I don't know. But I think it's cool. At first, it seemed like a huge loss. But now I think it's a win.
Yeah. Can you please just tell me where they keep the better guns in the Gulag? Because I haven't found them once.
I haven't found any better guns. I believe there's better equipment towards the center. They said as time goes on, it even adjusts. But yeah, I haven't found it's only pistols or shotguns, and I haven't found like a fully auto thing in there. So I don't know if that's coming soon or not working as intended. But yeah, it's pretty much you got that starting gun.
Yeah, I thought there was like better guns you could find, but I guess that's not the case. And those fucking handguns, it takes a lot to kill somebody with those handguns. It's not just like one shot, you know?
It does. And then I found like an armor satchel in the Gulag, but I don't think there was armor I could pick up. But gonna have to figure it out. It's still cool. Maybe there's gonna be a movement for more people to be against the jailer. But I dig it. I also like that you could have just killed someone, and then if you died right after, then you end up maybe teaming up in the Gulag. Gotta be potential. That guy you shit talked, if you had died right after, it could have been a funny thing. But that's really, I think, going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour. A ton more to dig into next week. I'm so eager to get back into this Warzone. Final note that I mentioned is the new M13 is live. And they said there was going to be an unlock challenge, but actually, no, the only way to do that is in the DMZ mode. You got to go to this like radiation circle, get a gas mask so you can spend time in there. Then there's a chemist who looks like a Breaking Bad guy. You kill him. He's got the M13. Then you have to pick it up. You have to successfully exfil, which is leave the mode with the gun in your hands, and you, the only guy on your team with it, gets it. But that said, when you have a teammate who has it, you can drop in again with them. They can drop it for you. You pick it up. You exfil. You have the gun. Paul, bless his heart, he's just the friend that keeps on giving. He killed the fucking chemist. I guess he drove a car into him, which is a strategy I recommend. Exfilled, so he's like, do you want the M13? We dropped into DMZ. Immediately went to exfil. He gave me the M13. Now I have the fucking M13.
Do you? Wow.
Yeah, so
Are you
maybe I
excited
can give
about
it to you if you're a little nicer to me.
All I am is nice. All I do is clutch victories and bring you along with me.
Well, yes, indeed. Hopefully many more of those to come. We love hearing all the positivity on our Discord and in the community as a large. We love y'all. Hopefully we can start dropping in with you. Maybe, get those walls on your gamer tags. Then if we see you in the wild, we can assimilate, baby. But as we said, that is going to do it for us this week. Excited for the times ahead. Incredible era. I think it's just delivered. I'm so excited for the future of Warzone, for the future of the Warzone Amateur Hour. But we're going to get out of here. We're going to talk to you next week. And until then,
good luck in the 2v2 style gulag.